almost 78-year-old first-class mage and Imperial Mage Denken is a prime example of it's never too late to be shonen. It was by his own moving story of protecting the precious memories, including his late wife's grave and attempting to save his old hometown by undoing Macht's gods, that reminded and motivated Frieren that life without shonen is a world no one wants to live in. Ain't that right, Lectore? Before the video continues, this is your Golden Land spoiler warning. It's another day in the Frieren Manga hiatus. The Foundation Festival arc is on pause. But we all know the question: to yeet or not yeet the great mage Serie, the feet goddess! When it comes to the Golden Land arc, there is nothing more ironic than this tale, the characters, the contradictions, in which it starts off at the very beginning when Denken said, "Ironic, huh? The Golden Land looks breathtakingly beautiful from here, even though his entire home in the fortress city of Weiss has been frozen by Macht's gods for over 50 years. Check out my video about Macht, the strongest of the 7 demon sages of destruction, and his role in trying to develop human emotions by understanding malice and guilt to coexist with humans. And check out that video about Solitar, who, like Frieren, believes that coexistence between humans and demons is almost impossible. Like I mentioned before about contradictions, I also talk about the hero's party fight against one of the 7 demon sages of destruction in Bowls the Immortal with Himmel the Hero, talking about how magic can't be created unless you can imagine it, and about the impossible being possible. However, the focus of this video will be about the good guy side, and specifically Denken, who we got to know quite a bit about during the first class mage exam, a grandfatherly figure to Loffen, and someone like Richter, who represented a younger Denken. We got a general idea of what kind of person he is during that entire arc. There is a gray area of politics and dealing with the deviousness of being in one of the most powerful positions as the Imperial Mage that gets to stand right next to the young King of the Empire. By that point, in partaking in the first class mage exam, he had already decided, with a little help from Lernin's flashbacks, that informed us that he is finally ready to go back to the Golden Land, his hometown, to see his wife's grave. Originally, he was preparing for the end of his life to be the keeper of the barrier of the Golden Land that Macht turned into gold, that is slowly expanding with Macht trapped inside. And so the keeper of the barrier's role is to just adjust the barrier as it expands. And it was also a barrier set up by what looks to be the first iteration of the Continental Magic Association, with quite the crew of first class mages, along with Serie, deciding to put up a great barrier to trap Macht inside instead of just yeeting him like Serie wanted. One of the most underrated, wholesome connections that will give you goosebumps by the arc's end is Denken's relationship with his wife, Lectore, where we get to see how their relationship formed and ended through Macht's memories and him serving under the noble Gluck, the lord of the fortress city of Weiss, the father of Lectore. His last days would be spent accepting the fact that all of his precious memories with his wife and the people in this area are long gone. However, no matter how painful and tragic those memories become, tragedy and sadness only comes because there was happiness and fulfillment beforehand. Denken explaining all this to Frieren sparked a flashback with Frieren talking to Himmel about not liking to use Flame's favorite spell of the Field of Flowers because it reminds her that Flame is gone. But Himmel reminds her that pain is a part of the journey, and reminding yourself of the time when you were happy with her master is okay to do. On this meta level, it feels like the Golden Land arc's message is about protecting, accepting the pain of memories because the good times will eventually come to an end. With this instance of Denken's people turning into gold for 50 years, and especially right before his wife, Lecture, passed away due to health complications. Beyond that message of accepting the pain that comes along with those happy memories is the literal shonen element of it all. It is to look for the best case scenario in reversing Macht's Dia Golds, saving the fortress city of Weiss and the surrounding towns, and ultimately defeating Macht, the strongest of the 7 demon sages of destruction who was hell-bent on fighting to the death for their coexistence. That is a statement that both Solitar and Macht shared that best represents the irony of this whole predicament for coexistence, where in the end, it really wasn't possible. As philosophical as this arc can be, given Macht's entire goal surrounding coexistence, everything about this storyline is as shonen as it can be. Denken is the main character of this arc, the same way Ganao was for the Divine Revolte arc. Frieren's party ends up being the main support to help our almost 78-year-old Denken to live out his shonen dreams of overcoming a villain, undoing his golden transmutation of his people, and protecting his precious memories, where his wife's grave may forever be stuck in a golden abyss. Since this arc is about irony in many respects, nothing is more ironic for our old man shonen of the monocle than what Gluck set up for both Macht and a young Denken. Gluck mentioned before when Macht asked if Gluck worked out a plan to get rid of him once Weiss is under control. Of course Gluck would. And that is a young Denken, a child that lost his parents to demons at a very young age, goes to church every day to pray. He is childhood friends with Gluck's daughter, Lecture, who wanted to become a mage when he grows up. Macht, though, a demon that can use human magic, will now help develop his own maker. This entire flashback involving Gluck, Macht, Denken, and Lecture is the heartbeat of this entire arc. These are a part of Denken's precious memories that are shared with Macht, that ultimately makes us fall in love with the dynamics of Denken and Lecture's relationship. That is the satisfying end goal of this entire arc, of saving Weiss, beating Macht, and protecting those precious memories that he shared with his wife. Being a girl dad, Gluck was blinded by the romance developing between his own daughter and Denken that even Macht saw before he did. Lecture would bring lunch and snacks to picnic with Denken during his training breaks. As the story progresses with the Frieren montage, we could see her by his side throughout this entire process of Denken's growth until he became a part of the Imperial Army, which ultimately led to a girl dad facing the music, playing ignorant that both his daughter and Denken will be wedded. As the whole stone bracelet of servitude situation gets presented, cast, and put on Macht, this is where unfortunately fortunes turn for the worse for Lecture, who has always been a frail girl. During the montage, we can see that she becomes bedridden and eventually passes away. From this moment on in Macht's memories, we know that Denken never came back to visit the fortress city of Weiss. It took him a mere 50 years. Fast forward to when Denken and Macht face each other on the battlefield for a fight to the death for coexistence, for human emotions that may never show up. To Macht, training Denken may have merely been a means to just obey Gluck's orders and continually assimilate in the human ways that would allow him to develop those human emotions. Like elves, this is nothing to their lifespan. On the other hand, Denken's entire existence, like Zotrak, has been with Macht's tutelage of magic. Countless training sessions and knowing every single detail about how Macht likes to fight and when he casts his magic is the master versus student trope that was masterfully unfolding before us. And the fight ended just the way you think it would, with the irony of Gluck asking Macht to train the mage that will ultimately defeat him, using a well-known tactic of the Frieren story, The element of surprise! After Fern, Stark, and Denken's first defeat when they got Dia Golds, it was in chapter 98. It takes us back to the backbone of every successful relationship. Like I mentioned before, it is the heartbeat of this entire arc, because if there is one true successful romance and marriage we can look to in this series, it is 100% Denken and Lecture. Kanehito may not have revealed as much in the manga about their relationship and more of their interactions, but I'm sure the anime would do a bit more to expand upon this relationship. But Denken's dream with Lecture in it is everything we need to know about how deep their love and bond was for each other. What do they say? Behind every strong man is a stronger woman. But in this rare instance, Denken almost accepted his defeat at the hands of his master. But whether or not this was an entire reality, right at death's door with Lecture's spirit waiting for him in Oriel, or if this was just residuals of a bond so deep that goes beyond human comprehension, his wife, Lecture, gave him the words of wisdom he needed, as he reveals how he worked so hard to earn a promotion to help gain the connections and funds to get the best healthcare for his dying wife. It was Denken being so wrapped up in his work that he missed his chance to see her before she passed away. Even if this is just a dream, I am so happy to see you one last time.
One last time?
Macht has beaten me.
Who gives a crap?
I've seen you get your ass beat by Macht many times before, but you know what happened during all those training sessions?
You never gave up.
Those were merely sparring matches. Didn't you say you wouldn't give up your clumsy struggle until the very end? At least that's the Denken I know. Whether the words of your wife's encouragement were real or not, spiritually, you cannot deny that connection was still there beyond life and death. An inexplicable bond that can't be explained by modern science. It helped spark a crucial Denken memory of that one time where Denken caused the cut on the side of Macht's face, which will be the catalyst in Macht's defeat. The entire battle against Macht was Denken's Mr. Xyla curse reversal spell that he received from Serie, and using Zoltrak in more ways than one, until once again, the element of surprise! By the arc's end, it was the culmination of some of his friends like Lernen, Edel, Frieren's party that all had a hand in allowing this arc's MC live out one of his last Shonen arcs, his last chapters of his prime years, delivering the finishing blow that ended the misery and future potential horrendous iterations of Golden Lands with one last kaboom. As Macht is truly irredeemable. Chapter 104 is the last chapter of this arc, and the reward is literally someone that doesn't physically exist in our realm anymore, but became almost like a motivating and rewarding mascot for our old shonen hero and Denken. It's the whimsical and wholesome depiction of Abe Tsukasa's chapter cover that gives you hope for the future of humanity. The ending is just everyone in relief and in recovery mode, with everyone giving their thanks. But the best feeling of it all was Denken visiting Lecture's grave without Macht's transmuted gold, and we get to see one last montage of the precious memories that Denken and Lecture shared from the long hours of studying, their wedding night, their countless times of picnicking, and at the very end, where the both of them were still together, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death do us part. That is the relationship that Denken and Lecture had that went beyond the grave. While his wife may be long gone, in the end, Denken wins, with him saving and protecting those cherished memories. Well, yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about Denken's whole role in this entire arc. What is your favorite moment of this entire arc? And obviously for me, I love the romance part of it with Denken and Lecturing. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.